We're live.
I love you, Poppy.
Taking nails back to back is fucking with my mental. Not a soul to call on. I done push everybody away. Please forgive me. My thoughts, they be fucking with me. Sometimes hard to control myself. It's okay. Can't hold that pain in forever. Loyalty over love. Shit, I stamped that. They still count on me, y'all, but it's okay. No love lost. Fuck what they talking, my nigga. Just keep it moving. Dark room by myself. Never knew I could shed so many tears. Somebody pray for me. I tell you I love you, I mean it, just don't question me. Black sheep, don't too many fuck with me. It's okay, purse still ease the pain, gotta leave them alone. Wanna see my kids before I see a hearse. A lot of shit I did and said, wish I could take it back, but you can't make it stop suffering. They don't wanna see you down, my nigga. They don't wanna see you down, my nigga. Ooh, I can't let them see me down, my nigga. I can't let them see me down.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the We Can Talk Basketball and Music podcast. Tonight we have a very special guest. I like to consider family. She's an actress. She's also a writer and a director, and also she does improv, among other things, and a super mom to add to that. We just like to welcome Christina Monique Marshall to the show. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, family. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. I'm not going to keep you real long. We're going to have a little fun this evening. This is a laid back type of interview, no pressure. All right, so let's let the audience kind of get to know who Monique Marshall is. Christina Monique Marshall is. What's your favorite movie?
Oh my God. I have so many, but I would have to say one of my favorites, all-time favorites, as far as serious drama type movies is Goodfellas.
Oh, nice. What do you like about Goodfellas? What interests you in Goodfellas?
The intensity. I mean, I love the actors and just, I mean, they put on such a performance. Like Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci. Like one of my favorite scene is when they're in the restaurant, and he cracks a joke to Joe Pesci, and he's like, what? He's like, funny like how? Funny like a clown? Like I'm a fucking clown to you?
Yeah, that's my part too. I think that they're at the bar before he stabs the guy with the bottle. Is that scene?
No, that's when he pulls. They're sitting around like in this like booth, this like semicircle booth or whatever, and
okay,
stories and stuff. And I guess Ray Liotta has kind of just met Joe Pesci. They're kind of feeling each other out. He doesn't really know him like well enough, and then Joe just like lets him have it. Funny like how? Funny like what? Like funny like a fucking clown or something? Like I amuse you? And then he pulls the gun and he's like. And then Joe Pesci starts laughing, and then Ray Liotta with that crazy laugh, but over exaggerated. He's like, like he was joking all around. That's like I quote that all the time. Someone says I'm like funny, like switch it up on them. Funny like how? But yeah, I love that movie. It's a great movie.
Yo, I like that movie myself. How did you begin acting?
So I actually moved down here to go to college, and I moved down here in '96. From New York, and I met a girl when I moved down here from South Africa. And gorgeous, like supermodel bod, blonde hair, blue eyes. Her mom was getting her into modeling and acting and stuff, and she was just like obsessed with me, this woman, and she just kept saying, my daughter, she's gonna be in acting and stuff, and I want you to come with her. And she got me like a featured background role on this small, I hate to say small, but it was like an independent film that was filmed out in Hampstead. It was like on the way to Jacksonville, and it was called A Soldier's Daughter Never Cries. Awesome experience. I was, like 17 at the time, and I got to play one of the girls' high school friends. And so I did that and we had a blast. And then after that, I worked on Dawson's Creek for a while as stand-in and featured background and stuff like that. And, I loved it. And kind of from there.
Dawson's Creek, that's a major that was a major series there, Dawson's Creek. How long were you on that?
Couple years.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yep.
Awesome. What are some of the challenges in the acting industry? What's your opinion on that? What are some of the challenges in your field?
Time management. One of the struggles that a lot of us face is being able to have a job, as we're kind of training in the field, because I tell people, it's you constantly have to train, which is another struggle with it, because it's like anything. It's like basketball. Like, you've got all these pros out there. They want to get better. They want to be the best at it. Acting is the same way. In the gym, drilling hard every day. Kobe was, Shaq was. You've got Steph. They're all in the gym every day drilling. And so as an actor too, like, you constantly have to keep pushing, and you constantly have to stay in classes and training as well. And so to be able to do all the training, you have to invest money in it. You have to have money to pay your bills. So you have to have a job that is flexible enough, which is why, a lot of actors might do like Uber or DoorDash or, things like waitressing and stuff like that. Because, you've got to be flexible to where you can be like, I need to take these days off real quick because I now all of a sudden booked this role, and it's not your traditional, like, you got 2, 3, 4 weeks notice to give these jobs.
Right.
So, that's one of the struggles I face is, as a single mom, career mom, working full time as a nurse still, to be able to juggle like my career there to pay the bills and keep the roof over our head, and to be able to have the money to pay the bills and to still be able to take time to act, because it's a love of mine. And at some point, hopefully I'll get to where I can just dive right in and give it my all. Just right now, it's not quite there yet. It's a two-edged sword.
It'll get there. It'll get there. All that hard work. I know. For the up and coming actors and actresses, what do you think the best way to land an acting role is? Do you have any advice on how they could land an acting role, or some steps they would need to take?
I have a lot of advice. Learn from my mistakes. No, one of the things when I started, we didn't have social media. We didn't have like online, we had AOL dial-up. There was none of these like things that are available now. There's so many supports and outlets and things that are available for actors and actresses that are new and upcoming, and they need to take advantage of all of it. Like, some people have that mentality where they're like, oh, I've got this natural talent. Like, I'm good. I look good. I'm good. I'm going to get. No, like, there is so much competition out there. You've got to train and train hard and like jump on all these like Facebook groups. There are North Carolina actors. There's, the Raleigh-Durham actors. There's so many different groups, and start out doing, background work. So you get a feel for the big sets and the chaos and the lights, camera, action, and, the long hours and everything that goes into making a full feature film, get that experience. Also jump into doing those student films that they have on these Facebook groups and the independent films where, you may make $50 for the day, or it may be just for copy and credit, but you get that experience and you get to keep practicing and working and getting better until you can actually, start booking agents. Everyone is like, I want to act. I need an agent. I want to, how can I get an agent? You got to put the work in first. You got to train. You got to have something to show them besides a pretty face to say, hey, I'm worth you taking time and investing time in me, because, it's a business. Agents, they'll care about you. They'll, help you out, but they need to make money too. And they spend hours of their time submitting you for roles, and you don't even know it because they're behind the scenes doing all that stuff.
That's right. So, that's right. That's similar to my management. Is you're always pushing for your artists, even when they're asleep. You're working hard. Does your acting experience help you basically like when you're directing, does your acting experience help you out?
Yeah, it does, because I'm able to, you know, give feedback based on my own experiences, based on my vision, and I know kind of what works and what doesn't work. And for some people, because I do work with a lot of, new and upcoming actors and actresses, I'm able to kind of give some suggestions and say, hey, that's awesome. Let's try it. Why don't you try it this way? Or that's not quite working, why don't we try it this way? Or, hey, let's sit down, let's powwow. Let's kind of see, let's walk through this a couple different ways and let's see what feels best. Just keep it
Right.
Light and laid back, and that way, because we're all learning, like, so I'm not Michael Bay, you know what I mean? Like, I'm learning camera angles, I'm learning cinematography stuff, I'm learning how to direct multiple people at the same time. It's
Right.
work. I'm just
It is.
keep training.
Which do you prefer? Do you prefer short films or features? Which one do you prefer?
I like features. I definitely like series also over short film. I feel like with a short film itself, there's so much that you want to say, do, and portray, and then you gotta like squeeze it and compress it.
Cram it in.
Yeah, and I feel like, if it's not done just right, then your vision and what you put out there can be compromised, and sometimes doesn't get the exact it doesn't give the exact punch that you want it to have, or like the characters that you have, can all be these well developed, people, like they are in your mind, or in the, if it's a personal story, that they were in the past, but you don't get to develop them as fully as you would want to if you did it in a series, or even a full feature film or a trilogy of full features.
There's just not enough time in a
No.
short film.
Hmm.
Is there any age limit to acting? Do you think there's an age limit to it?
No, I mean, you've got them casting for newborn babies, and then you've got people that I see out there in some of these groups across the country that are retired, 60s, 70s, and they're just starting to, hey, I've always had a passion for this. When I was in high school, I did some plays or whatever. I want to give it a go. Because if you
Right.
look at movies, they're all different age ranges. You got people playing the elderly in the, in the nursing homes. You got people playing, the retired generals and attorneys or parents or whatever. So I think as long as, I mean, look at Anthony Hopkins. My God, he's
What is he,
amazing,
like 90?
right? He's going to live forever. But I mean, Betty White. I mean, these are the people that we watched growing up, and they are.
Didn't Betty White die? Isn't Betty White dead?
Yeah, she just passed away, like, 2 weeks shy of turning 100. So,
Wow.
I mean, yeah, and she was in it. So, I mean, as long as, we're of sane mind and, physically able to, and are willing to put in that work, why not? If it's what we love, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's segue. We'll be right back to the acting. Okay, so just before that, I want to give the audience a chance to kind of see some of your work. Just a little rough draft of what you are capable of. So everybody hang tight. Check it out.
Speak of the devil. That's Raul now. Girl, I gotta go. Yes.
Action.
Bree. Yeah. So I got some information and I've got a location. I'm gonna need you to go check out the. You're where? No, why are you alone? You should have called me or brought someone with you. You should not be alone. Fine. Okay? Fine. Send me your location.
Action. Fair enough. Okay. Fair. Holy crap. Holy crap. Yeah, let's just say you got it all together. I mean, I was convinced that you were going to shoot the guy.
I think he was too.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so what are some of your future projects?
So I mean, I'm auditioning left and right for as many things as I can. I just wrapped on a horror film. It's an independent horror film that should be coming out. Jasmine was actually in it with me, called "Don't Go Into the Wizard Night." That was cool. It was a lot of fun doing that. I am hoping to finish up a mob comedy that we started in February. We did some summer scenes, so we've got to get, like the wintertime stuff. We're going to do that in February. Of course, I'm working on 20 Bands 3, the series. Of course, I'm working on that. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so we want to put out as much of that and develop that as best as possible, and keep our characters going there. That's the love of mine. I love it. And then what else? So Despondency is still in the works. We've got some tweaking to do on that, because it's something to me that means so much. And I had this vision in my head, and I think, maybe it's a little bit of OCD and a little bit of like the perfectionist in me too, that when I look at it, there are so many things that I see wrong with it that other people may not, but I want it to have this impact and to tell this story. I want it to change lives, even if it's just one or two. And I feel like right now it's not quite there. I am in the revision process where I'm talking with my assistant director, and we're working on a couple scenes to add to it. And then we're going to hopefully get that out soon. So that's still in the works. So it's not a lost cause. It's coming. I promise.
We can't wait. We can't wait.
I can't wait. I talked to the people over at NAMI too, and they're going to support me because it is a mental health awareness film. They're going to support me as far as our premiere here locally, the local chapter. They're going to get the word out. They're going to set up a table and distribute handouts to people to, like the crisis lines, like suicide hotlines, things like that, support groups and stuff like that. And hopefully bring some people in that can come check it out as well. And then try to drop it in some film festivals and then shoot for the stars with it. And then we are in the talks and pre-production and the writing stages of the pre-story for Ace and Maria from 20 Bands 3. We are working on telling Ace's story and his character development and what basically created the monster that he is now. Like, what turned him into who he is now? How did he get there? And what's he really all about? And then what is this backstory that they have? Because they seem to have some type of history and connection to where they work. They keep seeming like they're like, I don't want to say work together, but they kind of forgive each other despite stepping on each other's toes. And like, she pulls a gun on him and he's, you know what I mean? And then he goes after her kid and she's, taking his call. She hasn't put a bullet in his head yet. So there's something going on there and we don't quite know what it is, or we're not going to say what it is. We're working on that. But, everybody's wondering, like, are they related? Did they have like a romantic thing? Like, what is going on here? So we are working
on
getting that story together so we can tell them.
That's right. Soon they'll see. Okay, so what is your worst experience on set?
My worst experience on set? Oh my goodness. It was relatively recent. I can't say too much.
without saying anything to like, damage any other company
Right. Yeah.
or anyone's name.
It just had to do with a lot of egos, and a lot of things that shouldn't have been done on set and things like that. It just left a bad taste in my mouth briefly, but you know what? I knew that it wasn't the people in charge's fault, and so I know that I wouldn't let it kill my love for acting, or because there are going to be horror stories. I've heard horror stories from other people getting screamed at, getting things thrown at them, like all kinds of stuff. Like I've never had that happen. I've had people say in recent, I'm not doing this scene because I just don't like it, and the rest of us are like, what? Huh? You can do that? I mean, what? Like I just show up and do what I'm told. I'm just like, hey, I'm here. I like to be here. Just tell me what to do. But so I don't know. I've not really had any true like horror stories. Just ego stuff and
Right.
behind the scenes drama with people. And so, but again, I just will choose never to work with certain people, and it's that easy.
What do you find it difficult to remember scripts?
It can be, especially if you have like a brief period of time. Like sometimes they'll give you something and say, get this down pat by tomorrow or the next day, and you're like, oh wow, it's a lot of pages. But I've kind of come up with some methods that help me, because I know how I learn, and there's some like different tricks and memorization techniques, and I had to learn a like 140-page play that we did in Charlotte, and that was a beast. But I learned it. I had to.
140 pages?
Yeah.
Golly.
Play was like hour and a half. Awesome play.
How long did it take you to learn your part of that of a place that's that long? How long did it take you to learn your part of it?
I want to say I had the entire first act, which was half of it, down in a week. We were rehearsing every weekend for a couple months, and then the second half of it took me about another 2 weeks, because that was longer.
Right.
And there was a lot of emotion in it too, so it was really intense. So when you're going through it and memorizing it and trying to get into the character too, you kind of step into that lane, and then you snap out of it like, wait a minute, wait, where am I? Okay, hold on a minute. Because you actually, as an actor, become that character, and you step into their shoes and become that individual. You don't just act out what they do.
Right.
Because anybody can just, read some lines and regurgitate.
What are your thoughts on the climate of acting today? Like, what do you think the direction? Where do you think acting is headed?
Right now we are in the era of like streaming services, and like Netflix and Hulu and Peacock and what is it, Paramount, and like all these, even HBO Plus and Paramount Plus, like all of them have their own series and like their own films that they are tailoring and doing just specifically for them. So I feel like there are more films and more series out there on those platforms and being like produced than actual like theater, like movie theater.
Yeah,
films.
I think I believe that's where, okay, with the country, well, with today's attention span, things are gearing towards shorter content, whether that's movies gearing towards turning into series and shorter content in that form, whether it's YouTube content they're kind of keeping up with the TikTok wave with that short form of content. So yeah, I agree with you totally on that. So look, check this out. Now we're gonna have a little fun.
Okay.
I think the audience got to know you a little. So now we're gonna find out. We're just gonna move over into the basketball realm just a little bit.
Okay.
Who is your favorite player?
My favorite player of all time, or
it could be of all time, or it could be of right now. Who's your favorite? Okay, check this out. Who's your favorite player right now?
I would have to say, if people are gonna be like, but I love Steph Curry. I mean,
that's not a bad choice. Yeah, that's not a bad choice. Quite a few people like Steph.
He is the nastiest 3-point shooter out there. I mean,
of all time.
There is no ands or buts about it.
Of all time.
Yeah, it's amazing, and he's like nice and humble, and I'm just in awe.
How about of all time? Would that be Steph too?
No, I would have to say that would definitely be Michael Jordan.
Oh my God. You're a Jordan head too. Oh my God.
Well, I grew up in the era of basketball when Jordan was playing. So we watched the Knicks because, I was in New York. So we were watching, Jordan and Pippen versus, Starks and Ewing and, Doug Christie and like all of them. And then, Larry Bird and all those guys. So, but I was a Knicks fan back then. And, we watched all the games, but then, you had the Bulls and the Knicks in the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. But as far as of all time, I got to respect his game. He was dope. He paved the way. Look at him. People are spending thousands of dollars for his sneakers.
Yeah. 30 years later.
Exactly. He was out there, showing the younger ones what's up. And he paved the way for the players that we have now and showed them, what being a great ball player was like, and the training and the intensity you had to give it and the hard work it took. And they all, learned from him and got to be where they are now.
Okay. So this question just came in on the Facebook instant message. We're going to keep the person who submitted the question anonymous, but the question is, how do you prepare for a role?
How do I prepare for a role? Like an audition or a role I've already booked?
A role you've already booked.
So what I do is I take my script and I go through it and I read it from front to back like a book. I do that first and I read it to try to see whenever I've always been like a book nerd. Like I love to read. Some people are like, what, you like to read? Yes, I love to read. When I read a book, I can read a book in a day. I get this movie image. It plays in my mind like a movie. So I take my script and I read it from front to back and I get this movie image in my head of how I picture what's going on and just kind of get an idea of what it's about, what's transpiring, what the purpose of it is, or what I think the purpose of it is, before I make my mind up about anything in particular. And then I go back and take my handy dandy highlighter, all about some highlighting. you got to, and I highlight all my lines. And then I go through each scene and try to look at each scene and figure out what the purpose of the scene is. Like, am I like a primary focal point of that scene? Or am I just helping kind of carry the scene, support the scene to where like, I need to act and like do my part, but not necessarily be over the top. Like I can fall back and let them have their moment. You know what I mean? And then I go through line for line and try to determine, what my intentions are in that line, like what kind of emotions is my character feeling and expressing you know, each of these lines. Am I angry? Am I sad? Am I like frustrated? Am I happy? Am I ecstatic? Like excited? Like, what is the mood of each of these lines? Because then I can break it down and figure out how to deliver those. And then I have to make some choices. As an actor, we have to make choices. And even in like auditions, we have to make choices. And sometimes the choices we make may be different than some choices someone else would have made, or maybe even what the director had in their mind. And then they might see it and be like, oh, wow, you know, that's different. I kind of like that. Or they might be like, yeah, that's not what I was thinking. This is what I want. And then you just kind of recircle. But, you know, you make your choices about your character and give them a backstory. So that way you create this persona and you know where they come from, you know their whole story, how to kind of deliver that, how to become that person. So that way all the feelings are real. They become real to you. Some people have to take personal experience and draw from that and use that in their acting techniques. You know, like if there's a sad scene and they want to, I mean, you don't always have to like boohoo cry tears. If you can portray the emotion in your eyes and your face and you know, have people believing that you are about to cry or break down, you know, then you've done it. Unless they want you to boohoo sob tears and snot and ugly cry. But you know, I mean, there's other, you don't always have to do it, but sometimes you have to pull from within you from some other experience and get in that zone first and then kind of go through it all. I've done that too. It can help. For some, it doesn't work, and they just have to just create that person and be that character from start to finish until they are done, and you know, it's a wrap.
Right. Okay, so this is a fan favorite. This is where we do what we like to call, well, I like to call the shotgun questions.
Okay.
Now, on the shotgun questions, I'm going to give you a choice. It's going to be 2 words. You can either, you know, you pick which word, which choice, you pick your choice, but you can't say both and you can't say neither. Just commit to one or the other. All right. So here we go.
I've watched.
Denzel or Tom Cruise?
Denzel, all the way.
Diamonds or gems?
Diamonds.
Peaches or tangerines?
Peaches.
Rain or snow?
I guess rain.
Cold cereal or hot breakfast?
Hot breakfast.
Hair up or hair down?
Hair down.
Diana Ross or Shaka Khan?
That's a hard one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I guess Shaka Khan.
Green light go, red light no.
Green light go.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Honda or Hyundai?
Honda. Duh.
Okay, well, those were the shotgun questions.
Okay.
You did. Hey, you did a good job. Okay, so right now, what we do, we're going to close the show out after this question here, and we'll give everybody a chance to hear what you got going on next and where they could see some of your material and get up with you. And this right here is what we call, you know, mystery trivia.
Okay.
Okay, so here it is. How old is the oldest person in the world?
I feel like I just saw something the other day about a woman who was like 115.
Oh, that was very close. Lucille Randon of France, 118 years, 279 days old.
Okay.
Now, the oldest man alive, he was 113.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 113. Okay, so let everybody know how they could get up with Christina Monique Marshall. Where can they see some of your films, and where can they see some of your movies?
A lot of my films and everything are in film festivals currently. There are, of course, you can check out, I'm in 20 Bands 2 and 20 Bands 3, and that you can check out on Facebook and YouTube. And just follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and once everything is available, I'll definitely be keeping updates. I'm also in Avenged, which is on Amazon Prime. That's with Jamal Willard from Notorious and All Eyes on Me. So that's out and up there still streaming. But yeah, more updates will be posted as things become available on streaming platforms, and when we're having premieres and that sort of thing, so that way people can log on or show up and show out.
All right. We'd like to thank you for coming out tonight. And we definitely like to thank Christina Monique Marshall for coming out and joining the podcast. It was very, very fun. I really enjoyed you, fam. We'll be seeing you real soon on set.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All right, so everybody, you tune in. Tomorrow's guest, we got, who do we have tomorrow? Tomorrow, I believe we have Rob Wright, but I have to check. But just tune in, stay focused, and stay looking at the channel, and you'll see what we got on the notifications. When you get an opportunity, like and subscribe. And if you can't reach one and you can't teach one, I said something like that last episode. Thanks for coming out, sis.
And who must approve? To point me to the good life. To point me to the good life. Point me to the good life. I swear to God I deserve it. Yeah, I'm thankful for what I have now. I just want more. Can't be nothing wrong with that, right? I'm so tired. So many times I wanted to give up.